Inside the Magic, show number 440 for September 8th, 2013. It is Sunday, September 8th, 2013. This is show 440 of Inside the Magic, and as always, I am your host, Ricky Briganti, with another great show packed with plenty of information and descriptions of some yummy food that are sure to make you very, very hungry, and a whole lot of other fun as well. Before we get into all of that, I invite you to visit our website over at InsideTheMagic.net. There you'll find all of our podcasts and videos and photos and news and articles and all that good stuff, and if you ever have any news, tips, questions, comments, anything else you want to send in, you can email me at ricky@insidethemagic.net, or you can call and leave a message at 407-4944-ITM. That's 4486. And now, let's get on with the show. This week's episode of Inside the Magic is brought to you by Magical Travel. A deliciously brilliant offer is available for you. It is free dining for Walt Disney World guests for arrivals most nights between September 29th and December 22nd. You're going to want to call Magical Travel today. For more information and for the best availability, you can do so by dialing 866-207-8387 or visit them online at magicaltravel.com to receive a free price quote. And be sure to mention Inside the Magic to receive a free Disney gift card for qualifying bookings when you book your Disney vacation with Magical Travel. And of course, thanks very much to all contributors to Inside the Magic, whether it's a one-time donation, a recurring donation, or even just clicking through the Amazon link over at InsideTheMagic.net whenever you're going to make a purchase there. It all helps Inside the Magic out and helps me bring all this fun stuff to you week after week. So thanks very much for all of it. And now, let's get started with our trip around the world. So, some fun news, assorted news this week, starting over at the Magic Kingdom out here in Florida at Walt Disney World, where Disney has finally announced an official opening date for Princess Fairy Tale Hall. The latest edition as part of the new Fantasyland expansion. Princess Fairy Tale Hall is going to open officially on September 18th of this year, of this month, just 10 days from now. And they've offered a little bit of a sneak peek over on the Disney Parks blog that takes kind of a look on the into the entry area and the hall that all guests will pass through. It's lined with all kinds of chandeliers and ornate architecture and plenty of portraits. Lots of princess portraits, of course. Princess Fairy Tale Hall is going to be the new home for the princesses at the Magic Kingdom. This is where guests will be able to meet and greet with a variety of princesses on a daily basis, and it includes, it will always feature Cinderella and Rapunzel. You'll always be able to meet those two there, and then there'll be sort of a rotating cast. You'll go to one line and you'll meet Cinderella and another princess, or you'll go to a different line and meet Rapunzel and a different princess. Very similar to how it's working in Fantasy Fair out in California. Not exactly the same, but similar. And, of course, you know, you're wondering, okay, why are these two princesses always there versus some of the others? Why isn't Rapunzel located in her a whole new area over in Fantasyland that they've built? Well, if you think about it, the Magic Kingdom is now kind of the official home for Cinderella. Well, as it has been for many years. Of course, Cinderella Castle is there. And then now it's sort of the official home for Rapunzel as well, as she has her tower, she has her area with the lanterns. And so in Princess Fairy Tale Hall, she is welcoming guests into an area where, you know, both Rapunzel and Cinderella, they can meet everybody, and then there'll be other visiting princesses as well. Much like in California, Disneyland, Sleeping Beauty, Aurora, is that's kind of her home turf, so she's always there as well. Now, Princess Fairy Tale Hall, for now, will feature both traditional Fast Pass as well as Fast Pass Plus. Eventually, the plan, not only there, but everywhere, is to phase out the traditional Fast Pass and just go with Fast Pass Plus, but we're not quite there yet. We're still quite a ways away from that, since Fast Pass Plus has not officially debuted yet, though it is very much in the midst of testing. Now, as far as opening before the 18th, it is likely that Princess Fairy Tale Hall will receive some soft openings. I've heard as early as the 13th, which is just a few days from now. So if you're going to be out here, maybe you're going to be here, the 17th, the 16th, thinking, oh no, I'm going to miss it. Well, it seems highly likely that you'll be able to get in. It may not be open all day, maybe just here and there. Maybe they'll pull some guests in for tests. Who knows? No guarantees, of course, but it is possible that the official opening date for that area is September 18th. And, of course, with the princesses moving out of Town Square Theater, that leaves a gap there, and it's not 100% clear as to who's going to be moving in there. I've heard the fairies might move over there. I've heard nobody's going to move in there. I've heard a rotating cast of characters is going to move in there. So we'll just have to wait and see what Disney actually decides what to do with Town Square Theater. It would certainly seem a shame to only have Mickey and Minnie meeting in such an elaborate, large area for meet and greets, so I'm sure they will use that area for something interesting. Now, for you fans of Starbucks out there, the Starbucks at Disney Parks news continues, and it's going to continue for quite a while, whether you like it or not, for those of you who aren't fans of Starbucks. Of course, Disney recently opened Starbucks location in the Magic Kingdom at the Main Street Bakery, and now the first location is open over at Epcot at the Fountain View. It's a very different look for a Starbucks than probably any other Starbucks on the planet. Very future world kind of look. But it's Starbucks. They serve Starbucks. You can know exactly what to expect once you go in there and you start ordering off the menu. The next two Starbucks locations that'll be opening in Walt Disney World, it seems like there's going to be two springing up at downtown Disney. One in the west side, that's going to be where Wetzel's Pretzels and Haagen-Dazs currently are, and those two locations are going to move somewhere else in new kiosks. And then there's also going to be a second Starbucks at downtown Disney over by the World of Disney. That one will be smaller. It'll be a kiosk rather than a full-blown store. Jumping over to Disneyland now. Of course, coming up just a few days will be Friday the 13th, and actually both coasts are doing some special things for limited time magic for Friday the 13th. Out here in Florida and out in California is going to be Unleash the Villains, an event that will unfold differently out here than out there. Out here, we're going to get a lot of fun characters. Both coasts, really, but out here there's going to be a dance party and a special villainous fireworks. The Villainy in the Sky is what they're calling it over at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and a lot of really great rumors circulating as to what rare characters will be showing up for the event out here in Florida. So it should be pretty exciting. Any of you who are fans of villains will definitely not want to miss the Unleash the Villains event at Hollywood Studios. Now, out of Disneyland, characters will be there. There'll be 13 different villains as well. But in addition, Disneyland is going to be serving up some really yummy-sounding food, including Mickey-shaped pumpkin beignets, pumpkin fritters, meatloaf sliders, Oreo mousse, coffins, all of it New Orleans Square. So definitely some good dining going on during that limited-time magic event. Meanwhile, out here in Florida, we're going to get some gingerbread cookies. So not quite the same level of new dining offering here, but it sounds like our entertainment portion of that event is going to be a little better. I will definitely be over at Hollywood Studios on Friday the 13th. Going to stay until the event ends at 1 a.m. Definitely catch the fireworks and see how many characters I can meet and greet with. And I don't know if I'll be doing any dancing at the dance party, but I will certainly watch others. And so looking forward to that. Now, of course, starting in just a couple of days is going to be the first Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party out here in Orlando. And it was revealed this week, the special Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom card that will be given out at the Not So Scary party. And it is one that will be highly, highly collectible. It features the hitchhiking ghosts from the Haunted Mansion, of course. And when you play the card, it has a variety of different spooky spells that these ghosts cast. The official name of this card is the Haunted Mansion's Happy Haunting Grounds. And it actually features some really nice artwork of the ghosts. They're not in their typical sort of silly pose that you see them in so many pieces of merchandise. Instead, they're actually looking kind of scary, which is nice to see for once. At the bottom, it says, "Come on in. Your gracious hosts would like for you to stay as ghosts." So I will definitely be looking forward to getting my hand on that card. Anybody who goes to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party can receive the one that's included. No extra cost. You just have to visit the firehouse sometime during the night. Now, speaking of Halloween, let's shift over to Universal Orlando for a little bit of Halloween Horror Nights news. And whenever I say that, I always have to change the music. Have to make it extra spooky here. And I'm playing this particular music for a very specific reason. So there's a little bit of an update actually a pretty big update for Halloween Horror Nights out here at Universal Orlando. All of the details, of course, I went over on last week's show, still hold true, and now the map for the event has come out. You can see a high-resolution version of that over on InsideTheMagic.net. See where all the haunted houses will be located. But Universal Orlando, day by day, seems to be adding online, releasing quite a lot, a surprising amount of imagery and video from inside the haunted houses well before the event starts, which is still about a week and a half away. Just this weekend, they were showing off inside the Resident Evil house, which is one that I am particularly looking forward to, as I'm a big fan of that franchise for many, many years now. The video game franchise, of course, is what this is based on, not so much the movies, which is good because the movies weren't that great. But the video games are fantastic, and they're showing the exterior of the RPD, the Raccoon Police Department building, which looks spot on, exactly like it does in the games. There's even a save point with the typewriter that's inside the Resident Evil maze, the haunted house, so I cannot wait to step inside that world. But those who are looking for an even grander Halloween Horror Nights experience will be excited to know that Legendary Truth has officially launched. It is the online experience that will also carry over into the park itself. It is their interactive experience that's expanding bigger than ever this year. And, I am definitely looking forward to checking that out further and further. Right now, if you go to hhn23experience.com, you'll see a very nicely done welcome, sort of an introduction to what Legendary Truth is. And then, if you dig further, you can click around and determine exactly what this experience is all about. And to kind of summarize it, which they've done on the site, I'm just going to read the way that they describe it. They say, Legendary Truth The Collective is a unique Halloween Horror Nights interactive experience that incorporates both online gameplay for registered individuals and exclusive in-park play for frequent fear pass holders. Dedicated to the scientific analysis of supernatural events and paranormal activity, Legendary Truth examines all aspects of horror, fear, and the unexplained. By joining The Collective, you become an active operative investigating the multi-level mysteries of this year's event. With each game mastered, each riddle solved, and each task completed, you open new realms to explore both online and in the park during the event. Your experience begins with the purchase of your frequent fear pass. Join The Collective today and prepare to experience the legions of horror. And that is Legendary Truth in a nutshell. Of course, there's much more to it. As you explore the website, you stumble across, once you log in and register, you come across the Mansion, which seems to be the interactive gaming area, which it's all access denied at the moment, but that will definitely be coming together very soon. And I can't wait to see where all of this fun interaction goes in the park. It's nice to see, Disney, of course, has their Magic Bands and FastPass Plus and all of that going on. Meanwhile, Universal is using RFID technology to further this game that you can play online and in the park. So a very different approach to RFID and all that tech, and really just enhancing the Horror Nights event, which, of course, as anybody knows, is my favorite thing in the entire year. So can't wait to start diving into that very soon. And speaking of diving in, SeaWorld is teasing something new for their Aquatica theme park out here in Orlando. They have been teasing that something tall is coming to Aquatica in 2014. They released a photo of a height balloon that they've been flying up over the park at 105 feet tall. And whatever this taller thing is that they're building, they are calling it the tallest water thrill ride of its type in Orlando. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, Summit Plummet is taller than that, but it's the tallest water thrill ride of its type, whatever that means. Whatever that type is, we're not sure about that yet, but I'm sure SeaWorld will be revealing that in the near future. Now, here's some news coming out of Disneyland, to jump back out to California, that not everybody is particularly thrilled with. The official announcement went out this week to Club 33 members, of course, the exclusive restaurant and club that is located in New Orleans Square and has been for many decades, that it is closing for a big expansion. The Club 33 that everybody has known for decades now is going to cease to exist as of January 6th, 2014. That means the last available day for reservations for Club 33's dining areas is going to be January 5th. And in a letter to Club 33 members, Disneyland Resort President Michael Scheifler outlined some of the changes that would be coming up. And I'll just read part of the letter here. Quote, "After considerable planning and coordination, we're pleased to let you know that soon we will begin the much-anticipated expansion of Club 33. Award-winning Imagineer Kim Irvine is leading the expansion efforts, working from Walt's original vision for the club and building on the artistic foundations laid by such Disney legends as Dorothea Redmond and Emil Curry. Kim and her team, with creative input from throughout Walt Disney Parks and Resorts and Walt Disney Imagineering, have been working diligently to embrace both the past and the future in the design elements of this expansion." End quote. So, what are the changes that will be going on at Club 33? Well, the dining room that many have dined in over the years. I've had the good fortune of dining there a few times, including on my most recent trip to California. It's going to stay essentially the same, and that's pretty much the only area of Club 33 that's going to be pretty much the same. Everything else, including the famed trophy room, is going to be essentially going away. The trophy room is going to become a new backstage area because the Club 33 kitchen that's been used for many years is very inconvenient for the staff there. It's located way down deep in Disneyland, over near the Blue Bayou kitchen. They kind of share a space, and now they're going to be making it a lot more convenient for the staff to have a kitchen right there in Club 33. In addition, that famous elevator that's and really the whole entryway of Club 33, that famous entrance, is going to be moved. It's been reported, though not officially announced by Disney, that the entrance is going to move over to the Court of Angels, which is that quiet little spot in the back of New Orleans Square that has that curving staircase. Apparently that's going to become the new entrance to Club 33, and in there they'll be they're going to move over that famous elevator that Walt Disney had his Imagineers carefully recreate from a French elevator that he and his wife saw many years ago. And the balcony areas are going to be expanded. There's going to be a whole new sort of additional lounge area, and on and on. It's going to be very, very different. Club 33 members will have a chance to preview the upcoming changes in a preview center that's going to begin tomorrow. It's going to open tomorrow, September 9th. So I'm looking forward to hearing about the specifics as they come out from Disney. So far, all of these changes that I've said have strictly been rumor, though I did talk to the staff there in Club 33, and they kind of confirmed that that is what they had heard was happening as well. So it's supposed to open sometime next summer, 2014. No specific date has been given yet, but expect to see some scaffolding showing up around the Club 33 areas in New Orleans Square during the transition. And if you've ever had a desire to go to Club 33 and you have the means, you have the connections to get in there, I'm certainly not a member, but I've got friends and many, well, not many, but a handful of generous listeners out there, and I thank you very much for providing access to the club for me most recently. But if you have any way of getting in, I would recommend doing it in between now and January, because after that, it's not going to be the classic Club 33 anymore. It'll be a new version of what it always has been. And now let's turn to Disney Cruise Line for a couple of bits of news here. The Disney Magic is now on its way to dry dock in Spain, where it's going to undergo a 6-week or so makeover. We've talked about the changes that are coming to the Disney Magic extensively on a previous show, but the word that I'm most excited about is Aquadunk, the new variation of the Aquaduck. Much shorter ride, but it's going to be kind of a drop thrill water slide that's added to the Disney Magic, along with the Avengers area for kids and many, many other changes throughout the ship. When it comes back to the United States, it's going to be sailing out of Miami in October. And also, Disney Cruise Line is now moving its, not moving, but enabling passengers to use digital devices to access the personal navigator with a new app that just launched in the iTunes App Store, as well as in the Google Play Store. This app is the Navigator app for Disney Cruise Line, and it is just basically what I just said. It is a digital version of the daily personal navigator. You can access it via the Wi-Fi connection on board. You don't have to pay extra to add it, or rather to access it, though you probably want to make sure you turn off your cell service if you're going to be using your cell phone at sea, or you might accidentally connect to something you don't want to and then pay a whole lot. But as long as you have the Wi-Fi enabled, turn your cell part off, then you will be able to access this and take a digital version of that personal navigator sort of day-by-day schedule and itinerary with you throughout the ship. Of course, sometimes a paper version is just as handy since, you're riding the Aqueduct and soon the Aquadunk, and you don't want to get your phone wet. Turn to the world of video games now, where yesterday I headed out to Toys R Us as part of the 2-hour special Disney Infinity Power Disc trading event, but I wasn't there to do trading. I was there to pick up the exclusive lenticular Tron Power Disc. This is the second Power Disc that has been exclusive to Toys R Us, and they sold out very fast. They'll certainly be coming back, but they only had about 35 to 40 per store, so they sold out within the first few minutes as soon as they went on sale at noon across the country, and the Tron Power Disc has a great image of Tron from Tron Uprising, which is wonderful that they're using that artwork despite the fact that the show is canceled. And it's got a nice lenticular image that kind of moves the identity disc around on there, and then you put it in the game, and it allows you to get an enhanced bonus amount of sparks, I think, as you play around. So mostly just a collectible for me. I don't really care so much what it does for me in the game. I just definitely wanted the Power Disc itself. For those of you who didn't get one and you're looking for one in the future, they're going to lump it in with the Mike's New Car exclusives once those show up on the rack at Toys R Us. It may take a little while for that to happen. They're actually going to have a whole bunch of exclusive Toys R Us discs in the future, so they're all going to kind of be in blind bags together, and you'll just have to hope for the best when you get them. Or, there are tips out there that lets you sort of figure out what they are. No one's stopping you from buying one, taking it home, putting it on your Disney Infinity base, figuring out, since it's RFID, it can kind of read it through the package, and then if it's not the one you want, maybe you could return it to the store. You could do that if you wanted to. Of course, you couldn't open it and return it. You just have to keep it sealed and pristine, and, depends on the store. Depends on what their policies are. Let's turn to the world of movies now, where the film Escape from Tomorrow, we talked about recently, is still on track to head to theaters and video on demand in October. It's the Gorilla film that was shot without Disney's permission at Walt Disney World and Disneyland. Well, this week it received a new poster showing what seems to be a Mickey Mouse hand with blood dripping down it. The Escape from Tomorrow title is written in the Waltograph font. If you're familiar with that, it's sort of the Walt Disney style of writing, though it's an unofficial font. And it has a tagline, "Bad things happen everywhere." Now, everyone I've heard from that has actually seen this movie said it's not so good, but it's certainly getting plenty of attention. But a film that surely will be good and ought to be getting attention is from Disney. It's called Saving Mr. Banks, and that film has been announced that the North American premiere gala for Saving Mr. Banks will take place at the American Film Institute, the AFI Fest 2013. So that premiere is going to happen Thursday, November 7th. And final bit of news here comes to us from the sports world, which is not something I talk about too often, but apparently the Mighty Ducks are returning to Anaheim, a little bit at least, for the 20th anniversary season. The classic Mighty Ducks jersey apparently is going to be worn by the team for one game in October, just as a sort of tribute to the past during, like I said, this 20th anniversary season. So if you're a fan of the old Mighty Ducks hockey team, you might want to go out for that game and root them on, and maybe they'll do it again in the future down the line. And that is it for your news from around the world this week. This week's tip comes in from Scott, who writes, hello from Scotland, Ricky. Got a tip to share with my fellow Disney Ohana. If you see any activity in Walt Disney World that you would like to do or take part in, just ask a cast member. It has been my experience that cast members will go out of their way to help make your dream come true. Just from conversations with cast members over the many years traveling to Walt Disney World, we have been able to open the Magic Kingdom, had VIP seating for parades, and our children were part of a Halloween parade. Obviously, timing is critical, but if Disney Disney is needing guests to fill a role and you're on hand, there really is a chance to make memories that last a lifetime. Scott, that is a great tip. Of course, there are no guarantees that you're going to get any sort of special treatment. The cast member just might smile and say, oh, unfortunately we don't have any room or anything available or whatever. But it doesn't hurt to ask, certainly. Cast members are there to make some magical memories. And as you wrote, sometimes there are some extra special things available for you to do that you might not be able to otherwise unless you simply ask. Everybody else, email your tips into tips@insidethemagic.net. And now we've got something particularly delicious to talk about here in just a minute. But first, I want to talk about capturing magic, the iPhone apps that are the ultimate tool for documenting and recording the magic of your Disney vacation, whether you're out here in Florida at Walt Disney World or you're out in California, in Anaheim at Disneyland. You use capturing magic to provide a helpful list of photo opportunities and memories to capture actually before, during, and even after your trip. It's a great way to make sure you don't miss any of those magical moments like the ones we were just talking about, or the ones just happen sort of every day in the park, so you might just walk by and not realize it. When you're in the parks, after you've selected sort of these areas, you can the app will actually remind you of when you're near those locations that you picked from the list, and then you take a photo. You use the app to mark off who's in the picture, what camera you used, and it's a great way to organize everything about your picture taking experiences when you're in the parks. If you want the capturing magic apps, simply search for them in the iTunes App Store.
Inside the Magic proudly presents a restaurant review. Be our guest, be our guest, be our guest.
So there are dining experiences at Walt Disney World, and then there are dining experiences at Walt Disney World. There's a ton of restaurants around. There's counter service, there's table service, there's theme dining, there's character dining. But among the best of the best dining at Walt Disney World is the California Grill. It has been for many years. It is a very special restaurant, and over the last few months, it's been getting some enhancements. It's been reimagined, as Disney likes to say, and tomorrow, September 9th, it is officially reopening in its new version atop the 15th floor of Disney's Contemporary Resort. And that's what I want to talk about for the next little while here on the show. New menu, new decor, and beautiful wraparound views of Walt Disney World, and specifically the Magic Kingdom, of course, which is right next to the Contemporary. But before I get too far into talking about the California Grill and my own sampling of the menu that I had a chance to enjoy just a few days ago, and I will emphasize enjoy, because boy is the food good. But before I get into all of that, I want to welcome a couple of special guests here to the show. First, I had a chance to talk with the general manager of the California Grill, Michael Scheifler. He's been there for a few years, and he's also he's the sommelier of the restaurant, and as you'll hear, there's actually quite a large emphasis on wine at the California Grill now, in addition to the wonderful food. So this will be my conversation with him. And then immediately following that, I also had a chance to talk to the chef in charge of the whole new menu at California Grill. His name is Brian Piasecki. So I'm going to go ahead and just share my two conversations with you right now, back to back, beginning with the manager and then the chef. And then I'll be back to talk about even more about the new version of the California Grill at Disney's Contemporary Resort. California Grill seems to have a whole new look, a whole new menu. It's been around for years, though. What makes the California Grill kind of a staple of Walt Disney World?
I think it's one of our signature restaurants, the crown of signature restaurants. And I mean, the view, the food, it's all about food, wine, and our guests having a great time up here. Again, it was time to kind of reimagine the California Grill. And I think, as you've seen, we really kind of knocked it out of the park.
Looking back a little bit, I mean, how long has the California Grill been around as a concept here at the Contemporary?
So as a concept, I mean, we actually, since I came here, 19 years, California Grill has been the California Grill. Before that, it was actually top of the world. So again, it has been a staple at Walt Disney World for many, many years.
So going into the update here, what were the goals? What did you want to accomplish in sort of giving it a new look?
The goals, I mean, again, be true to the roots of California Grill. It's kind of fresh, market-driven, very inspirational, and I think it's all about food and beverage up here.
We're in Florida, of course, not California. What makes it the California Grill?
What makes it a California grill? I think it's our chef actually. He's kind of really driving that message, as well as our selection of wines on our menu. So again, 80% of our wines are from California. We have 20%. We're playing around a little bit for our guests who are actually looking for some exotic wines like first growth, second growth from Bordeaux. So actually we have something for all our guests on the menu and as well on the food. On our menu also we change it on a daily basis. It all depends what you get in really fresh, and so it's very market driven.
Well, you're obviously standing in front of quite a few wines here. Are there any particular special ones that guests to the California Grill should be looking for?
I mean, we actually just, obviously we have almost 300 different wines on our menu. 80 of those we are serving by the glass. And some highlights we actually just added. I mean, we actually had a program, Honig Cabernet Sauvignon was actually poured in magnums. That's our house wine. And we just added Heights Chardonnay, which actually was the first bottling for magnums, only for our restaurant. So it's actually very unique, and I'm very proud of that. And I mean, both producers are phenomenal, and I think our guests really going to enjoy that.
Excellent. Tell me a little bit more about the decor, sort of the inspiration behind the new, very open, sort of bright, colorful look.
Absolutely. It's actually the inspiration. It's actually mid-century modern. So again, and if you look around, I mean, we really kind of accomplished that. Our carpets are Mary Blair inspired, a Disney icon. So again, also here at the Contemporary Resort, from the 4th floor up to the 15th, we have a mural from Mary Blair, and you're also going to see artwork displayed throughout the restaurant from Mary Blair.
Okay. When guests come to Walt Disney World, obviously there's theme parks as a huge draw, water parks. Do you feel like the California Grill stands on its own as sort of an attraction?
I wouldn't call it an attraction, but it's definitely a staple. I mean, we're a destination. Again, we are known for, our guests come and seek us out for anniversaries, birthdays, proposals. And I mean, we have a lot of repeat guests coming back just for that. Also, the location with the fireworks. I mean, it's just like the place to watch our fireworks. Like, talking about fireworks, we actually just also opened a second observation deck. As you remember, in the past, we only had one observation deck on the north side. We opened one on the south side as well. So we have an easier flow now for our guests. You're not going to be cramped out there. You can actually enjoy a glass of champagne or a glass of wine out there while enjoying the fireworks. So again, it's a whole new experience, and I think our guests are going to really enjoy that openness and kind of that great new feel of the California Grill.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was, when the Be Our Guest restaurant opened over at Magic Kingdom, a lot of fuss was made about the fact that they were serving alcohol in the park for the first time. Sounds like this is a nice way to have that drink without sort of, because you're confined to Be Our Guest over there. You can't leave with your drink. Does this give sort of a different opportunity, sort of maybe an upscale opportunity to watch the fireworks?
I definitely would call it an upscale opportunity to watch the fireworks by any means. And again, like I said before, a lot of repeat guests just coming to watch the fireworks. Obviously, you want to dine with us in order to come up here to our restaurant. But again, if you come in our first seating at 5 o'clock, you're more than welcome to return and watch the fireworks at 10 o'clock, those guests who actually dine with us.
What do you hope that guests visiting the California Grill for the first time now, and never having been here before, what do you hope they sort of take away with them as their, experience?
I hope they take away they need to come back, because I think that's it is a special place. It's close to my heart. We put many hours in kind of putting this restaurant together, and even before I came here, I've been with the California Grill for 2 years. Bridget Sharon was the area leader before me, and they kind of laid the groundwork of this iconic restaurant here at Walt Disney World.
The California Grill is reopening with a whole new menu. What is new about it? I mean, California Grill's been around for a long time. People have liked it, but what can they expect?
So we're reopening on Monday, September 9th. It does have a whole fresh new feel, fresh new look. We've redesigned the kitchen, redesigned the interior of the dining room. But from a menu standpoint, you can expect some upscale, playful food. So we've taken some of our classics and we've kind of re-identified them, added some fun and interesting elements to them. Things like the goat cheese ravioli and the grilled pork tenderloin all have updated elements, whether it's a estate-grown, private reserve olive oil blend or a lacquered crispy pork belly that we put with the pork.
You're making me hungry, and it's 10 in the morning, and I already want dinner.
Perfect.
So, and the name California Grill, what does that mean for the menu and the type of cuisine that's served here?
Well, when California Grill first opened back in 1995, it was really kind of that movement of California-style cuisine, using market ingredients, cooking everything fresh, using what's coming right out of the ground. And we're still that type of restaurant. Our menu changes constantly with whatever Mother Nature brings us. So we're still true to those roots.
Okay. Were there ever any considerations to make it, the Florida grill or any other state, or does California just have that unique cuisine that everybody likes?
I think because that California style of cooking really originated and started over there, that everybody kind of associates that almost farm to table type of cooking with California.
Okay. When guests are coming to Walt Disney World, there's a lot of dining options. What will separate the new California grill from everything else on property?
Well, what we have to offer in our dining experience, aside from this amazing view of Walt Disney World and Walt's Kingdom, is an incredible wine program, an amazing sense of arrival. You get off the elevators and you're greeted by 1,600 bottles of wine. The environment in which you dine, it can be romantic party of two, or it can be a large party at one of our brand new communal tables that overlooks Cinderella's castle as a large family event.
Other than the top of the world over at Bay Lake, this is the only opportunity to kind of sit and lounge and dine while overlooking the Magic Kingdom, right?
That's correct.
And guests who dine here get an opportunity to see a great fireworks view as well?
Yep. So we also bring in the fireworks music right from the Magic Kingdom, so you can watch the fireworks show from your table and hear that experience, or you can go out to one of our 2 observation decks during dinner. And if you have an earlier reservation and you're already done dining when fireworks start, you can just come back up. We'll recognize you that you had dinner here earlier in the night, and you can view fireworks.
Okay, let's get back to the food, because that's definitely what I'm most interested in, what I imagine most people coming to the California Grill are interested in. What do you expect to be sort of the standout must-have items on the new menu?
Well, I think one of the must-have items on the new menu is going to be our 3-meat signature meatballs. It's pork, veal, and lamb with a little bit of harissa cooked in the wood-burning oven, so it's got a little smoky component. We top that with a fresh-made chimichurri and a little zest of Meyer lemon and lavender mint. So it's spicy, smoky, refreshing. It's a wonderful appetizer.
It sounds good. I seem to remember sampling that a few months ago at the preview event for this, and it was excellent then. So, for those looking for, let's say, they're coming and they're starving, what would you recommend for just sort of the biggest gorge yourself type of meal here?
Well, one of my favorite dishes is our Columbia River salmon. So we do that over southern sweet corn pudding. So it's got a spice and sweet element to it. Deep fried salmon cakes, and then a nice crispy skinned salmon fillet with a salmon and saffron broth. Great entree.
And the complete opposite, those looking for a little lighter fare, are there calorie conscious options here?
Well, we have an incredible sushi menu, and that's always great for those that are looking for a lighter entree. And then, of course, the goat cheese ravioli is a very popular dish. We love our vegetarian guests. So we've got a roasted squash ravioli with a real light roast mushrooms, parsnips, salsify. So that's a little bit on the lighter side.
Are there any particularly technical dishes that you're preparing here, ones that sort of foodies would be really impressed by?
Well, one thing that we're doing that's really fun is we've mastered a 24-hour braising process on a boneless short rib. So we label it on our menu as a short rib fillet because it's not like your typical short rib where it'll just kind of separate and fall apart. It eats like a fillet. So it's a really amazing process, and it's still medium in the center.
Now, you've heard from the manager, you've heard from the chef of the new updated California Grill at Disney's Contemporary Resort, and now it's time to chime in with some of my own thoughts on the makeover and the new menu. But because I wasn't really a regular of the old version of the California Grill, in fact, I think I had only dined there once, I thought I would bring on the show somebody who was a much more of an expert on the prior version of this restaurant. Let's welcome back to Inside the Magic, Skipper Ben.
I'd really only consider myself an expert of the Frontierland turkey leg stand, but if you want to talk California Grill, I'm all game.
Yeah, they're pretty close. You got smoked, mass-produced turkey legs versus fine dining. Very similar.
Very similar.
So California Grill, as anybody who has listened to you talk about your trips out here to Walt Disney World over the many years that you were on Inside the Magic, it's a restaurant that you mentioned many times. One of your favorites, certainly.
Yeah, it was kind of a dating spot for myself and Princess Lisa when we worked out there. So we started going there back when we both worked in the parks and continued the tradition over the years on our many visits. It was our first restaurant we went to after we got married at Disney World, and to this day, it's some place that we try to get to on every time that we head out to the parks.
So now you'll be coming back, I assume, sometime in the next few months because you tend to do that a lot, which is a great thing. And are you planning on visiting the new updated version of the California Grill when you come out?
And this might be something we can touch on near the end of the review here a little bit, but I don't know if we're actually going to get there for this visit. We are coming back out in October. It's not necessarily I guess it might be a little bit of a pet peeve of mine, but now that I have small children,
Yes.
I like to put the California Grill on a pedestal high enough that I consider if I can't leave the kids at home, then we don't go to. But after your video, I might be reassessing my own personal rules on that.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about the California Grill sort of as a concept here. When you've been going there for a long time, would you have described the previous version of this restaurant as a sort of an adults-only affair?
I would have liked it as an adults only affair. It was a place that Lisa and I, if we were going to eat there, we got dressed up and tried to treat it as special as possible. To me, and granted, I've never been to Victoria and Albert's, but on the pedestal of restaurants at Walt Disney World, I always place California Grill right underneath Victoria and Albert's. And so we would try to dine in a way that, I thought fit the restaurant. And granted, I know Walt Disney World's a theme park and families go out there all the time. And I don't hold this against anybody who would go there and take their kids or, go in shorts and t-shirts. But something that always rubbed me wrong a little bit on there when I would see that. But, Lisa and I treated it as a very, very special place.
Indeed, and it is. And there is a dress code. Was it dress code before, like mandatory?
There was not a dress code before, so that's the here's our first difference between
Definitely.
the old version and the new version.
So now it's kind of business casual. You are expected to not waltz in there with your flip flops and your shorts and straight out of the pool with your bathing suit. In fact, strollers aren't even allowed up there anymore because the new landing area, when you show up straight off the elevator, you've got hundreds of bottles of wine right in front of you, and it's a very different sort of feel.
Points for the new version of the California Grill already.
Yeah, the manager told me that they'll make an exception if you've got a 1-year-old who's peacefully sleeping in the stroller and you don't want to disturb him. Of course, they'll let you bring him up there and try to keep him quiet. But other than that, you're going to have to leave your stroller downstairs.
It's a very fine line out there how to deal with families when they're on vacation. But considering Disney let you get away with pretty much anything in 95% of all the restaurants, it doesn't bother me at all that they do hold a couple restaurants to the side where they do have a little bit stricter policies to go in.
I completely agree. It's nice to have sort of a little bit of a getaway. And in this case, as I said, you walk out now, the elevator doors open, and immediately you're sort of immersed in this California wine country feel. I know you've seen what it looks like from the video that I put up, the pictures. How do you think, as a regular of the old California Grill, what is your take on the new look of the entryway?
I love the new entryway. I love the sleekness of the refrigerators, I guess you could call them there, for the bottles of wine. It left me, by watching your video, it left me wanting more to go and explore it because I wanted to see exactly how it was laid out. It's something I need to see in person, which is a good thing from watching a video that it has me that intrigued already. I love the new layout as you enter the restaurant.
It is, it's very open, and then as soon as you turn the corner is where things are even more open. Obviously, California Grill is known for its wonderful views of the Magic Kingdom and the surrounding area. Is that one of the reasons why you would visit there so much?
That was the main reason.
Yeah.
The fireworks, getting to go out on the balcony and having that view was the absolute main reason we went to the restaurant for the first time. Granted, it helped that the food was phenomenal,
right,
and all the other aspects of the restaurant. But yeah, that's to me the main drawing card is getting to go up there and sitting in that sitting at any table and just being surrounded by the glass and getting to see every piece of property from a vantage point that most don't.
It is definitely spectacular when you walk out there. Even now the sort of the look of the restaurant is different. The color scheme, the furniture, the overall sort of feel of it is very much updated, but it's still got those floor to ceiling windows that just completely wrap around, and it's almost as if you're just sort of dining out in the open, hovering over Walt Disney World.
Yeah, and the one knock that there is about the place is I'm not a very big Mary Blair fan at all, so I don't like the interior. Wait, I'm kidding. Have you ever heard anybody say that I'm not a Mary? I hate Mary Blair.
No, I'm not sure anybody. No, you can say it's a Small World song. Well, you might have some issues with that, but as far as the art style, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is like you're walking into a piece of art. To be honest with you, now that the from the carpet to the textures in the furniture, and it's just everything. The pictures on the walls of her, just dating back to the history of her with the company and of her with that hotel is really, really cool.
Yeah, I think that's really special that they've updated it sort of with her aesthetic in mind, because certainly, I mean, a major focal point of Disney's contemporary resort is the giant Mary Blair mural that's been there for so many years, and to take elements and the sort of the color palette of that and bring it into the California Grill really ties it all together. I know some people have been sort of looking at this updated version of the restaurant and thinking, wow, that looks really old and dated, and I mean, it was almost on purpose. It's they're trying to make it look like an aesthetic from a few decades ago.
Yeah, and from what I've seen so far on there, it to me it leaves me with the feeling of the way I felt before I went to Club 33 for the first time, or before I went to Walt's at Disneyland Paris, with all the pictures on the wall, just wanting to explore everything. I now feel the next time I go to the California Grill, I'm going to need to get up and walk around and look at everything, look at all the walls. Before, you never did that. Before, you went to your table, you had your food, you looked outside, went out on the balcony, you were done. But now I want to see every one of those pictures up close and study them, and they all tell a story of this, absolute Disney legend.
Definitely, but it's not overwhelming. I mean, the focus still is most certainly on the views, and you mentioned the fireworks viewing, and of course, for many years now, there's been a wonderful viewing platform. Sort of as you're standing up top of the restaurant and you're facing the Magic Kingdom, you walk out the sort of the right side of the restaurant, and you would look over the Magic Kingdom. But now there's a whole other side that you can walk out on as well.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what that perspective's like. Watching your video was the first I saw of that, and I guess there was part of me thinking that you wouldn't have that good of a view going out the south side of the restaurant on that balcony, but based on what the video shows, I would be completely wrong about that. It looks like you have a great view, which just gives you more space. There's times I've been up there that it just gets insanely crowded on those balconies, and you're fighting for a spot to see the park real well and see the fireworks, which is when you're paying those kind of prices to eat at a place, and that's one of the benefits of going there. The last thing you want to do is fight for a view. So opening up an extra wing of that to spread things out a little bit is very appealing.
That's definitely one of the reasons they wanted to do that. Again, I was talking to the manager, walking around the restaurant with him, and we walked out on the balcony. He was showing me how great of a view it is. In fact, he prefers the new platform area because it's a little bit more in front of the Magic Kingdom instead of sort of off to the side, so you can see more of the front of the castle, and it's a slightly different perspective on the park, which is nice. And then definitely their goal is when they have a full restaurant at night and the fireworks are gonna about to happen, they want half the restaurant to go one way, half to go the other way, as to not stumble across each other and interrupt people who don't really care about the fireworks or just want to stay at their table and watch them. And then those who dine earlier as well, let's say you had a 5:30 reservation, you finished your meal long before the fireworks, you can come back later. He said they'll recognize you, they'll let you back in, and they'll allow you to sort of walk down this nice pathway that they've created specifically for the purpose of being able to access the original platform without disturbing any of the dining guests.
Yeah, it was always kind of a tricky situation on, how to play that out, especially if you were in the middle of your meal. When did you need to get up from your plates to go get your spot? Would your food get cold? Would they hold the food? It's just very tricky. This just gives you more options, which is always welcome. But to me, and maybe I rate this a little high, but I honestly think watching the fireworks from the top of the Contemporary is a top 5 Disney experience for anybody. If you've not done it, it is something you need to do. And if you have to eat at this phenomenal restaurant to get to do that, that's a win-win in my opinion.
It is a pretty spectacular view. They've made it better now because they've upgraded the sound system out on those platforms with new speakers.
Great.
Yeah, so they sound better than ever. They're crisp and clear and in time with everything. And I would say the only negative of the view up there is while there are gorgeous sunsets that go on, certainly around Walt Disney World, and you can see that from up there. If you do happen to be dining right at sunset, that sun is blaring in.
Yes, it is. We've done that before because a lot of times you're kind of at the mercy of when you can get a table at the California Grill.
Sure.
And so there's been times where we did it last minute, and you can tell there's obviously fans know to kind of stay away from that time period. But if that's your only option, take it.
Definitely,
You'll be fine. It's worth it.
And one more note before we actually move on to the food, which of course is the focus of the restaurant, but on the view with the new platform, walkway, whatever you want to call it, you can actually now, since you're facing the other side of the resort rather than sort of, the Magic Kingdom and the backside of Walt Disney World, you can look out and in the distance see Spaceship Earth and Animal Kingdom and Downtown Disney, and it's just this wraparound view of Walt Disney World.
See, to me, when it comes to restaurants, and we try to budget out the best we can when we go out there as far as what we spend on food. To me, though, the value of a restaurant, it's worth it. Just look how much we've talked about this place already, and we haven't even gotten to the food yet.
Very true.
It makes it worth going to this place, and you haven't even sat down to eat anything yet. So, the views are spectacular that you can't beat them at the parks. And for any just hardcore fan who wants to, you can kind of get it, I guess, when you go up Expedition Everest. If you look real quick to your left and right and get a quick view, here, take your time, get a glass of wine, enjoy it, take it all in.
Very, very true. It is a nice casual way of enjoying that. So moving on to the menu itself, which has gotten a pretty big overhaul on the old menu that you were so familiar with. What were some of your favorite items over the years?
Well, one thing that Lisa and I did that I don't know if it was necessarily the best item there, but it made us feel extremely fancy, was we had to get the cheese plate.
Mm-hmm.
We love the cheese plate and love the options and love sipping our wine as we sat there back and forth critiquing the different flavors and tastes that were hitting our palate and not knowing what, anything that we were talking about meant. But outside of that, they had a teriyaki beef tenderloin that I had probably all but one trip there. And the reason was it was the best cut of meat I've ever had in my life, and that's saying something from somebody who lives in Texas and eats a lot of beef and a lot of steak.
Mm-hmm.
This was just melt in your mouth, lick the plate when you were done. It was $50, and I was tempted every time to order a second one when I would finish the first one. It was that good. So, but Lisa at the same time, she did a lot of the raviolis. She did some of the fish items. I'm not a big fish person. We did the flatbreads. There was just nothing that ever hit our table that we did not thoroughly enjoy.
Well, I had the good fortune of attending a Disney sort of reopening event the other night in which they weren't serving table service, but they were sampling from almost everything on the menu, and they were preparing it fresh, in the kitchen and at various stations around the restaurant. And so I had a chance to sort of, dive in and eat probably half the menu. So there was a lot of good things. Now, you mentioned the cheese plate. Well, now, I didn't actually see a cheese plate on the new menu, but instead, what I see something called duck in all its glory. It's a charcuterie plate similar to sort of what a meats and cheese plate would be, but it's all these different preparations of duck. There's sausage and a duck prosciutto and a duck liver pate and a couple of others as well. And it's phenomenal. I had no idea that one fairly ordinary you see ducks waddling around all over the place that they would taste so good in so many different ways.
I was going to say, I don't normally eat Donald, but if they're preparing it, I would definitely give it a try. Now, one thing that we should look into, on the cheese plate, it had actually become an off-menu item over the last several years, which freaked me and Lisa out about 4 years ago when we went, and there's no cheese plate. We talked to the waiter, he's like, it is here, and they bring actually over a separate menu that had it on there. So that'd be something interesting to check back in on the next visit there to see if they still have it. But if not, like your video showed, there's more than enough items to make up for the lack of any kind of cheese that they might have pulled off.
Definitely, the duck sort of appetizer that I just mentioned is definitely it's a little bit adventurous. Something like duck liver pate may not be immediately for everybody. It's sort of this thick, creamy version of duck liver. It's like, oh, that sounds terrible, but it's really good, I promise.
But before you get into any other ones,
Yeah.
let me make a statement so I can see if it holds true based on what you had. But watching the video, two things just absolutely made my mouth water. Was that flatbread and the meatballs? How were they?
The meatballs are something that they are really talking up here. It's one of their sort of highlights, and they're really, really good. They are, as the chef explained, oven or rather flame roasted in their oven, and have all kinds of great herbs, and even a little bit of spicy kick from the harissa that's in there, and they're just definitely moist and perfect little meatballs. Unfortunately, I did not have a chance to try any of the flatbread.
Well, I'm sure the flatbread's fine because it it looked great. But those meatballs, I'm very happy to hear they taste as well as they looked.
They taste better than they
phenomenal.
look, honestly.
Great. Well, that's the first thing I will be ordering. But even before I get my drink or glass of water, it will be I want the meatballs on my plate.
Yeah, you mentioned Lisa enjoyed the raviolis, and they actually have two different ones on the menu now. There's a goat cheese ravioli appetizer, which I have not had yet, but I absolutely will be getting next time I am there. But then as an entree, there is a roasted squash ravioli, and I could have eaten like 14,000 of these.
Well, I can tell you one thing. Lisa, her favorite kind of cheese is goat cheese.
Yeah.
So that's right up her alley. I can tell you 100% that's what she orders next time we go there, no doubt.
Well, that one sounds delicious, and if it's anything like the squash ravioli, which were they're great, certainly pasta on the outside, obviously, nice al dente pasta, but on the inside it's just this wonderful sweetness, and it's just delicious. Like I said, I could have eaten them all night.
You're having trouble talking now, Ricky.
Yeah, well, I'm the problem is I'm looking at the photos of the food while we're doing this, and it's a bad idea because I am hungry now.
Not a good idea there. No.
Yeah, no, it's but so you mentioned your teriyaki beef, and there's certainly a few changes when it comes to the beef portion of the menu now, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's a negative by any means. There is some extremely delicious beef to be found on this menu. There is now and I've got the menu in my hand here. I'm just gonna read off of it. There's a oak-fired fillet of beef that's served with heirloom tomato risotto, baby vine tomatoes, petite basil, and a tomato butter. And as you said, it's expensive. It's a $49 dish. For that, the portions, of course, in any restaurant like this are not going to be ginormous. You don't expect like a 20-ounce steak to be plopped in on your plate. It's about the quality of the food and the flavor over the quantity.
Yeah, for sure. That's something that people do need to be aware of before they go. These are this isn't like going to your steakhouse where you order by the ounce.
Right.
This is you order by the description, by what they make, and they bring you the portions that they deem the sizes need to be. So if you're used to going to a regular run-of-the-mill steakhouse, these cuts of beef will be smaller than you're used to, but they'll be better than anything you've had at those other places.
You're going to want to savor every bite, and this filet is absolutely delicious. I should note that a lot of the photos that I've put up from this were from my sort of sampling of things, so don't think the portions are so very, very small that it's literally just one tiny slice of beef. That was kind of my small plate sampling of the menu, but it is still not a giant hunk. But either way, it's the beef just completely, this filet melts in your mouth, and the tomato risotto that's served with it is something I've never even tasted before. I've had mushroom risotto and a bazillion other kinds, but I've never had a tomato risotto before. It was really, really good.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm kind of a risotto newbie still, and I believe mushroom's pretty much the only thing I've ever had. To be honest with
mushroom's
you.
pretty common. But I've had a variety of other flavors, but tomato was a new one for me, and it's almost a spin of on like you would get pasta with tomato sauce, of course, all the time, and this is a very Italian tasting thing, but it's not quite as rich as having this hearty tomato sauce. Just kind of a subtle tomato worked in there.
Now, how were the spare ribs that you had in the video?
Well, I had pork belly.
Oh, okay.
Which
Wow.
there's actually a pork two ways that's served together. It's a tenderloin and a pork belly, that's a lacquered pork belly, which is unbelievable. I mean, that thing, of course, it's loaded with fat. That's what pork belly is, and every morsel of that just is oozing yumminess in your mouth. The pork tenderloin, if there's anything that I tried, the pork tenderloin was probably my least favorite. And it could have been, that they were serving it sort of in small portions, and maybe that didn't work as well. But it just didn't quite pop as much as everything else. But the polenta that came with it was fantastic. The sauce that came with it was excellent. There's even a little bit of applesauce, which always goes great with pork. And I mean, like I said, the pork belly is just phenomenal.
Well, I was gonna say, especially with the pork belly, that the old saying goes that there are no calories at Disney World when you're on vacation, but you live there, so I think the rules are a little different.
Yeah, it is a little bit, and that's why I was glad it was just small plates. But they have sushi as well there, and they're actually making a pretty big deal about it, with a crazy variety of it there, prepared fresh right in their sort of upgraded kitchen. They even have a pork belly sushi.
Now, I must admit this is very weird. It baffles friends of mine here, but I do not eat anything that lives in the water. But I love watching fish and sushi being prepared. I don't understand it at all. That's just the way it is.
Well, I'm not a big seafood eater either. I eat very, very little of it. And I tried a whole bunch of the sushi, and I actually liked everything that I had. It was all so fresh that it didn't leave that, sort of fishy aftertaste.
Well, that's one of the cool things about this restaurant that we really didn't touch on the design of the place, and this goes for the old version and the new version. But if you're a foodie at all and you enjoy the Food Network and watching food being prepared, this open kitchen to me is an attraction as well. Especially if you sit in an area that's pretty close to it, you just get to see the action. You get to smell the food coming off the grills and out of the ovens, and watching the sushi being prepared. Table. Do they still have the bar up next to it to where you can sit?
Yes,
and actually,
and in fact, they've one-upped that experience with their sort of spin on a chef's table, where they have I think it's a 12-course sushi, chef-guided sushi adventure.
Oh, that's awesome. That to me, by combining all those things with the fireworks and the food and the kitchen layout, and all, this is more than a restaurant to me. This is an attraction. This really is an attraction that you need to do when you go out to the parks.
Yep, and then of course in the end there is dessert, and
Here
there
we
are
go.
plenty.
This is the good stuff.
Were there any old California Grill desserts that you just drooled over?
None that come to the top of mind, because when it comes to desserts, I have zero choice in it. It's all Lisa, and she, and even when it comes to me, she orders both of our desserts because she ends up eating half of mine.
Sure.
And she's the one with the sweet tooth. I'm the one that gets way too full on the beef,
right?
And she has the sweet tooth. So, but again, they were just always delicious.
Well, let me tell you, in this case, there are many desserts that I tried that were absolutely worth ordering. I'm not a big banana eater, but they had these banana fritters that are just these lightly fried. It's almost kind of like Tonga toast over at the Polynesian, but even lighter. And maybe cross Tonga toast with churros, and then make it lighter and fluffier and fresh from the kitchen, and they're just delicious.
Sold.
And there's also a great trio of desserts. Their spin on a sundae concept, where they're one of them is they're creative, one of them's playful, one of them's classic, and it's just sort of these light little dishes that one of them, my favorite of the three is this just tiny little Coke float that even comes with a tiny Coke bottle. And
I saw that.
Yeah, it's a great presentation. It's like sort of this classic Coke float, but they're only like 2 inches tall.
That's
and
awesome.
So you pour the little Coke into the little glass that has this delicious homemade, restaurant-made vanilla ice cream, and just kind of swirl it around, drink it up, and it's wonderful.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a fun little thing.
It just kind of goes to show this is a real fancy restaurant that's not afraid to have a little bit of fun.
Exactly.
And,
yep.
You can see that in the design and the interior, and using Mary Blair as the backbone of the new concept of the restaurant, and all the way going to, like you said, a Coke float dessert, in a little 2-inch bottle. It's awesome.
This is a long time to be talking about one restaurant, but for good reason. I mean, it is a top restaurant at Walt Disney World. I mean, Walt Disney World has, I don't know how many restaurants. I've lost track. There's so many everywhere you look. It's like there's more restaurants than there are attractions now, and or at least it seems that way. And California Grill, this update, I can't say enough good things about it. It is absolutely up there at the best of the best.
You know, I've got an idea for something we should do later on down the line.
What's that?
Because I do this a lot with people we help plan out trips to the parks. When it comes to things to do, all they always think about is the rides and attractions and the shows. And I always try to stress to them that the restaurants are attractions in and of themselves. And a lot of us, you know, do that who go all the time. If we ought to come up with a ranking system for these restaurants based on the old, you know, attraction ranking system, and if we did that, this is what you would consider an e-ticket without a doubt. This is something that you would you know, you'd spend your highest ticket on to go eat here. It's an e-ticket attraction, e-ticket restaurant, somewhere you need to go.
I completely agree. The only thing that prevents me from eating there every night, other than, you know, eating too much pork belly, would be the prices, of course. It is a rather expensive meal for, you know, two people. If you do appetizer, entree, and dessert for each of you, you're looking at probably a $200 tab.
There is, and that's when you need to make your choices wisely on where you eat when you go on your trips and when you're out there. And, you know, if you just budget properly and you cut out, you know, a trip to the Sci-Fi Dine-In and 50s Primetime and go to this place instead,
yeah,
you know, you can make it work and make it fit in your budget. You just need to go out with a plan and properly execute it.
I would gladly eat, you know, nothing but hot dogs one day in order to have the money to go here for dinner.
We do that on our trips all the time. We'll take days where we'll cut back. We'll do counter service. We'll take it easier, knowing that the next day we're going to a you know, it might be a 40-something person dollar buffet, but we're going to have a blast. We're going to eat a ton of it, and we just budget it out back and forth. And that's the same way when we know we're going to the California Grill for dinner. Our breakfast and lunch are we're much more conscious on what we spend during those times, knowing so we can plan out our dinner a lot better.
Definitely. Now, we've been talking about a lot about, of course, you and your wife Lisa's many trips out here. I understand that you two, I guess we're going to be hearing a lot more from you in the near future.
We're trying to put a little podcast together. We're itching to get back in the game a little bit more. We've always had a blast coming on Inside the Magic and still plan on doing stuff with you all the time. But we just thought it'd be fun to get back in front of the mic a little bit. We get people asking us based on our old segments from Cruising the World that we did, you know, when we're going to do it again. And now that the kids are a little bit older, we're going to give it a shot. So we've started a Kickstarter to see if we can't get everything together that we need to properly execute this. And, you know, if you want to hear more Skipper Ben and Princess Lisa later on down the line, we encourage you to go over. You can do a search for Disney Debate Desk podcast on Kickstarter, or you can go to my Facebook page. And you know, if you want to contribute to the show, we'd love to have you contribute.
No, you just threw that out there. Disney Debate Desk, is that the name of the show?
That's what we're going with. Yes, it's kind of just an old, you know, it's kind of like what we did tonight, Ricky, where we just take a topic, go back and forth, and discuss it. The idea is to incorporate the listeners as much as possible in there into the debate as well. And you know, it's fun talking Disney, and that's what we want to do.
That sounds like a great idea, especially I know how much you and Lisa like to go back and forth, so I'm sure it will be very entertaining.
Yeah, that's kind of the fun of it, because, you know, it happens every week when we're listening to Inside the Magic in the car. You'll talk about something. Next thing we know, we have to pause the show because we're going back and forth for 15 minutes with our own thoughts and views, and we have very different thoughts and views about things at Disney World, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right now she'd be like, wait, I want to talk more about the desserts.
Oh, yeah. That's, we just figured, why not? Let's put it on the air and have some fun again. So, and I have had people ask if this takes away from, you know, what I've done with you in the past or anything. And I'm like, Totally not. This is like an extension of Inside the Magic. It's like if you love Inside the Magic, it's just an extra 15, 20 minutes of, audio you'll get to hear a week. I hope to have you on the show debating the stuff as well. We've always had fun with our different thoughts on topics and going back and forth. Just having a little extra forum to do it is all it is.
Excellent. Well, count me in as a listener. I look forward to hearing it. And how's the old business venture going as well?
It's going well. We are we're very busy as the free dining stuff came out with for October and in the fall and going into winter. Lots of people going. So if you're interested in having a Disney vacation planned, you can hit up Princess Lisa on Facebook. It's Princess Lisa Rebstock, REB as in boy, STOCK, and we'd love to help you plan your next trip to Walt Disney World or Disneyland.
Excellent. It sounds like you're coming out here pretty soon. Hopefully I'll have a chance to see you. If not, and if you don't make it to the California Grill, you need to already be marking over, down a few months to come back.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully we can get some TTA talk in. We missed that on the last trip. Last trip was just a insanely busy time, but this one we're going a little bit longer, gonna take it a little bit easier, and you and I need to spin around the TTA a few times. I do have one question for you though.
Go ahead.
Are there any new offerings this year for Ricky's Not So Scary Halloween Party?
You talking about at my house here on Halloween night?
Oh. That's what it's called, right? Ricky's Not So Scary Halloween Party. You're charging, was it $54 again?
Right. No. I don't reveal too much about my own Halloween festivities before the day of. It's a big surprise for the neighborhood. It is definitely already in the works. I've bought stuff just today, in fact. So, everybody can certainly look forward to another adventure across my house.
I hope you buy a banjo playing skeleton. That's all I can say.
That was just silly. All right. So Ben, good talking to you. I'm starving after this, and the good news is I'm going back one more time to have a proper table service for California Grill, and I will definitely ask about the cheese plate while I'm there.
Can't wait to hear about it.
Excellent. Good luck with the show.
Thank you.
So is everybody sufficiently hungry now? I know I'm drooling, and I absolutely look forward to getting back to the California Grill. As you heard, I only had sort of a sampling of the menu, so tomorrow night, September 9th, on opening night, I will be enjoying a full, actual, regular table service experience there. And so if I have any changes in my thoughts or anything about the restaurant or even anything to add, I will definitely update you on that. If you head on over to InsideTheMagic.net, you'll see a full review with lots of photos and video from within the restaurant, a tour around all of it. You'll see the view and the fireworks and everything that you could possibly want to make you hungry from the California Grill, which it's just fantastic. I can't say enough great things about it. So, of course, skipping listener feedback here because Ben and I just talked for so incredibly long about his favorite restaurant and definitely one of my new favorites. I hadn't dined there too much in the past, but now as the funds allow, I will definitely go back there because it is definitely a great restaurant. But enough about that for the moment. More over on the website if you want to see even more. I do want to thank Magical Travel for sponsoring this week's episode of Inside the Magic. You can find out more about their services by visiting magicaltravel.com. And don't forget to check out the Capturing Magic iPhone apps by simply searching Capturing Magic in the iTunes store if you want to have a little aid in capturing those magical moments throughout your Disneyland and Walt Disney World visits. Of course, between episodes of this show, definitely visit InsideTheMagic.net. There you'll find all of our videos and photos and news and articles. And actually, if you want more video, definitely check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/InsideTheMagic. Rapidly approaching 100,000 subscribers on there, which is fantastic, and getting millions and millions of views every month. So very popular videos, and if you're missing those, well, you're missing out. So definitely head over there and check that out. And, of course, follow us on Twitter and Facebook as well. So coming up, we're moving into Halloween season. Really looking forward to getting rolling with Halloween Horror Nights and Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. And next week, of course, the Friday the 13th Unleash the Villains event that I am really, really looking forward to. Should be something special, one night only, and so much beyond all of that. So thanks to all of you for watching and listening each and every week. And have a magical week. Goodbye.
Just a dream away.